Hi, I'm Peter. I'm the manager of StudioMe. With me today is Megan Ciafre. She has over 540,000 followers on TikTok and over 64,000 followers on Instagram. Today we're going to be talking about how to expand your presence on social media and what that can do for you and your brand. So, Megan, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. So you and I go back all the way back to college, which is great. We were in the same film program. Before we get into the algorithm and how to best utilize your content, I want to ask how your filmmaking experience has informed just how you approach some of your content on social media.
Yeah, so shout out to Edinburgh. We definitely, it helps having that background in film because when I see people posting certain stuff on TikTok and Instagram, Reels, I can almost always tell how it's done. Whereas, I see a lot of people in the comments on certain transition videos being like, how is this done? Give us a tutorial. And tutorials definitely help. There are some transitions that I'll see and be like, I have no idea how they did that. But for the most part, looking at it from having a background in film has helped me a lot to sort of already know how I could create a similar video. TikTok is all about trends. So if you see someone doing something that's cool, you want to take it and do it in your own way, make it work for the content that you create. And it's been a huge help to have a background in film and editing in general.
With your editing, I've been just kind of thinking of you as the master of the match cut at this point, which is just really, as a filmmaker and editor, that's really just delightful for me to see. I also feel like you've tapped into the same type of audience that people who are into Celtic things or Renaissance festivals or pirates or a lot of the people that maybe Lindsay Sterling caters to as well. I feel like you've found that niche. Have you, was that an intentional thing on your part as far as finding a target audience for your work?
It wasn't really intentional. It was sort of an accident. I have been going to Ren fairs most of my life. Since I was fairly young, my parents used to take me every year. We'd only go once a year, and we would always go to almost the same one, either the Pittsburgh or the Great Lakes Medieval Fair in Ohio. But I had downloaded TikTok probably a couple years now. I've had it since, I think, 2020. And at first, I wasn't posting anything. I was just an observer. And then I started posting some random things, just trends that people were doing. And the one day I had this Renaissance Fair outfit that I got from the Ren Fair, and I was like, I never get to wear this. So I was like, I'll throw it on and make a video. And I danced around my kitchen to a song by Celtic women, and within a week, it had 1 million views, and I gained 10,000 followers within the first 3 days. And I was like, okay, I'll start making this kind of content. And I was enjoying it. It wasn't I was just oh, okay, this did well, so I'm going to keep doing this. I've always loved dressing up, and so it gave me an excuse to buy more corsets and start building an arsenal of costume type clothes and Ren Fair garb. And so it sort of just took off from there.
Well, that answers one of my other questions, which was, did you already have most of this gear? Because you have so many great costumes, and your wardrobe is clearly extensive. And it's really cool to see how you mix and match it to get so many different looks for it. But yeah, I guess you didn't have all of it at the beginning, but it's been a great excuse for you to, pursue that sort of passion that you're into. Was that initial success, you said that wasn't oh, this is working, so I'm going to keep doing this content, but was that the thing that made you decide to apply yourself more to TikTok and Instagram, or was it something else that happened later?
Yeah, I think it was that, and seeing success in it, and then really starting to be able to enjoy that, and it felt like a nice creative outlet that there wasn't a ton of pressure behind. It was just something that I was doing for fun after work. It gave me a really great hobby. And I had always really liked Ren fairs, but I wasn't an avid Ren Fair goer. And now it's sort of thrown me into it a lot more. So this year, for example, I have multiple Ren fairs that I plan to go to, and I'm really excited to travel for them. And so it wasn't the main driver, but it's definitely gotten me more into that like sort of culture of Ren fairs and everything, and it's been really nice.
So you're lead editor at a media company full time. You've been a production coordinator. You've done some producing. You've done some directing and writing and all kinds of different facets of production. When you're creating your videos, do you do these? Can you give me a little bit of insight on the production side of it? Are you doing a lot of videos at once? Is it sort of one a day or once a week? How often do you do this, and how much do you? What's your schedule? Basically, is my question.
Sure, yeah. It has turned into a lot of work than compared to when I first started doing it. So it is, I do consider it like a side gig now. Before I had started making Ren Fair content, I had made a few like transition videos and I filmed them on my GH5. And it took me a very long time to get that right, because not filming inside of the app and matching it up, like making sure you're staying in the exact location, you're not editing it in real time. So it makes it a bit more difficult to know if it's actually going to work when you get it in Premiere. So when I started doing this kind of content, I was originally just doing videos where I was like dancing around in Ren Fair costumes, and I'm not a dancer. So it was like, okay, I need to like branch out a little bit into something else. And I always loved watching transition videos, and I was always like impressed by people that could do really smooth transitions. And so I gave that a try. And I think my first one was like pairing corsets with different outfits. And I had a lot of fun making it. And I thought that the product, like, or the final, like, turned out really cool. And I edited that in the TikTok app. So I film it within the app and edit it like as I film it. So it's nice to be able to see like, okay, this is working, you know, before it's done. So I would like pick a song, pick the transitions that I'm going to do. If it's just one transition, like one cut in between, it takes me like a lot less time. It obviously depends what I'm transitioning to. If I'm doing like a full like makeup look, that could take like an hour to do the makeup alone. Or if I'm changing, I've gotten really quick at changing corsets, which I consider a talent because it's not an easy thing. Yeah, so it doesn't take me too long, especially now that I've done it more. I think the first transition video I made took me like 2.5 hours because I was like changing a bunch of different outfits and refilming stuff until it looked right. But now I can get a transition done in under an hour, even if it's like a 3-part transition. A lot of the videos that I like to do is like building an outfit. So starting in like just a like poet shirt type of shirt, and then adding layers on top of that to build like a full pirate outfit or just like a general like Renaissance fair type outfit. And those usually take me, I would say, about an hour, depending on how much makeup I'm doing and stuff too. And I try to film multiple times a week. Like at first I was posting 2 to 3 times a day, and it was way too much. Like I was posting really crappy content because I had always heard that on TikTok you need to be posting 2 to 3 times a day to be successful, which I definitely do not think is true. I do think you have to post quite a bit, but not nearly that much. And I think it depends on your niche as well. Like if you're doing videos that take you hours to do, obviously you can't post every single day unless it's your full-time job. And so I do have a full-time job, so I do this on the side. So like after work, I'll usually come home. If I have the energy, I'll do a video, and I tend to do only one video at a time, at least one transition video at a time, because it is like time consuming, and usually I try to like match the makeup to the certain outfit that I'm doing. So if I try and make too many in one go, I notice that I sort of lose the excitement about it, and the videos don't turn out as well. So I've tried to just say like, don't put pressure on it, just do like one video at a time that you're feeling good about, and that usually works well for me. So some weeks like I won't film at all if I don't have the time, and others I'll film like 4 to 5 days out of the week.
Now, when you don't film during a week, do you still have something to post? Like, do you have like sort of a stockpile of videos, like to give yourself a break in real life, but to keep that kind of presence going?
I do try to. I don't like going more than like 3 days without posting. Sometimes it just happens if I'm busy. But I try to like save videos, but sometimes I'll film them and then get really excited and be like, I'm just going to post it now.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. So it just depends on the week and like how I'm doing. I'm still trying to figure out like how to schedule this in a way that is more consistent. Because if I'm having a week where I'm not feeling motivated, like I really don't want to force it, because I just feel like that shows in your content. And I don't want people to like look at something and be like, oh, she just threw this together because, you know, like she wasn't feeling it that day.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, then I'd like to kind of skip this stone on this pond we're walking across right now of conversations. And you talk about being in the moment. It really sounds like you've really figured out how to be pretty consistent with this without burnout as well, right? Like I think a lot of, if I could pontificate for just a moment, as someone who works in media, there's a lot of people who think that with media you have to be firing on all cylinders all the time, you know, wake up early, do the thing, do it all day, stay up late, be sleep deprived, and this romanticized idea of someone who's burned out all the time. And not that some people can't do that, not that you should never do that, but they're sometimes hard work for passionate creators is doing it at a pace that you can be consistent with. Right?
Yeah,
Which,
I totally agree with that. Like, and I feel like I have experienced burnout occasionally, and I try to just not force it at that point because I know that it's just gonna turn out not great either way. Like, if I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to put a video out, or what? Like, I'm gonna lose all my followers? No, so it's fine. Like, you know, as long as that motivation comes back, then it'll be fine. I think the fear is like, if you continue to push and just force content when you're not feeling it, it's like that's when you can start to like go downhill because you know what you're putting out isn't great because you're forcing it, and it makes, at least for me, it makes me feel worse because I'm putting something out that I know I'm not exactly proud of, which I've had times like that. Like there's videos that I could go back and be like, oh, that was bad. But the beauty of TikTok.
I haven't seen that video myself.
Well, the beauty of TikTok, though, is that you can have those mistakes, too, because, like, TikTok, I feel like, and I've heard other creators kind of explain it like this, is, like, throw stuff at a wall and, like, see what sticks, and it can definitely be like that. I think there's certain creators that feel like their page has to be very curated and every video has to be perfect, but when someone goes to your page and is scrolling through, I guarantee you they're going to watch the video with 5 million views, not the video with like 20,000, because that's just how TikTok is. Like they're going to see that one with all the views and say like, oh, okay, obviously people liked that, so I'm going to watch that. So if you put stuff out there that isn't necessarily the best, it's also not the end of the world. And there's no point. Like it's just, okay, that one didn't do that well. I won't do that again, and I'll just move on. I think the problem is if you start dwelling on that sort of stuff and like feeling like it has to be perfect every time, that's when you can start getting to like a burnout phase. And obviously it can also get a little tough or like difficult with sponsors and brands. Like if you have a sponsor that you are posting for once a month or once a week even, you have to produce that video and it has to be good. So that can add to like a little bit of the pressure of, if you're feeling burned out, you can't just say, I'm going to take a month off of social media, because you can't. You have like a page now that is dedicated to also, you know, promoting certain brands and everything like that, which is, you know, great if you get to that point, but you do have to kind of like pace yourself and make sure that you're not going to all of a sudden just like fall off the face of social media.
I think also, well, so we've talked about like sort of how you started with this, with like what you're passionate about being something that like you're creative with and motivated to do. We've talked a bit about your production as well, but I want to talk more about what you just brought up, which is sponsorships as well, and how like as this isn't just a hobby for you. It's like you have your full-time job, but this is a side hustle where you're making some cash off of this as well. So as far as like, do you have any tips as far as how to get sponsorships? Is it not just having tons of followers, because that's an achievement in itself, but is there more to it than having tons of followers, or is that sort of the golden goose that everybody's going for that?
I think there is more to it than just having followers. I think that I've always heard engagement is a huge thing. Like, you can have a ton of followers, but if your engagement is low, brands will notice that. I've heard that whenever I started like looking into sponsors and working with different brands and, you know, how to approach it, I've heard people with 5,000 followers can get like pretty big sponsors because their engagement is good and they have a dedicated audience. You could have 1 million followers, but if your audience isn't like dedicated to your content, one, it could look like you bought those followers, and I think that that's fairly transparent to brands that work regularly with influencers. If your engagement is very low, but you have 1 million followers, that brand isn't going to necessarily care to work with you, because who are you actually promoting to, if that makes sense?
How do you help engagement happen with your content?
I think it just depends, like, what kind of content you're producing as well. There are like tips and techniques. I don't know if I have a ton, like, honestly. I just try to I think being like authentic is important, because if you're putting out some like sort of facade, it's hard to keep that up. Whereas if it's just you and you're like the face of your brand, it's just you and you're just posting like yourself online. So I think that people can recognize that and like want to support you because they followed you originally either for your personality or something that you enjoy doing, and they like watching it as well.
Now, something I've seen you do also on Instagram a few times is you'll make a video sometimes that's a response to a comment as well, where like I think you've done polls before, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that help you having a better connection with your audience?
Yeah, I think so. With Instagram, I'm fairly certain that your story engagement does have a big impact on your engagement in your videos and your posts. I think that your posts tend to get shown to more of your audience if your stories engagement is high as well. So if you're getting like a lot of people swiping up and responding to something that you posted on your story, or if a lot of people engage in a poll that you put up, that tends to help your account, from what I know. Like, I haven't personally looked into too much of how Instagram's algorithm works. I just kind of have like learned from my own experience of when my page seems like it's doing a little bit better than other times. Like, for example, one of the things that I do on my stories is one of the question blocks where it'll say like, post your name and I'll match your name to a corset that I think matches it. And I just go online and like find a corset that I think, I'm like, yeah, that works for Rebecca or whatever.
That's a Matthew.
Yes, it's a Matthew corset. And
I should respond to that. I want to know what I look like as.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. We have to see what
green,
Peter would look like.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that wasn't something that I was like, oh, this is gonna do so well. Like, it wasn't a planned out. I was just like, this is fun. This will be fun. And so I posted that, and I got so much engagement on it because it's easy for people to just put their name in the box. You're not asking them to do work, and then they get potentially like I get too many that I can't respond to all of them. But
so it backfired in a good way. That's
yeah,
pretty great.
Right. I feel bad sometimes because I'm like, there's so much, like it's overwhelming,
right.
And I want to be able to respond to everybody, but I can't. So that helps with engagement on my page, because a ton of people that look at my story will just do the name thing. Like, and I've had people message me when I'm not doing it and being like, can you do the corset name thing again? I want to see what my name is. So like that thing, like I didn't plan that out, but it just happened to do well and it's fun for me. So I'm like, oh, I'll do that occasionally. It's not necessarily like a strategy because I genuinely like enjoy doing it. And I think that like the people that follow me enjoy it, but it does help too. Mm-hmm. So you could call it like a strategy if you were approaching it from that perspective, I guess.
That's such a clever thing because it makes people go, oh, I'm interacting with this person like you're thinking of me, all that. And they definitely, I could see how that would make them feel like there is a better connection
Yeah.
there with your audience, and I think that's gotta be helpful in the rest of like just improving engagement in general.
And I think generally like connecting with your audience is really important. I'll see creators with like millions of followers that just don't respond to any comments ever, and maybe they're just sort of burnt out at that point, or like see like a disconnect there. But like for me at least, that's part of like the fun of it, is being able to actually like connect with people that you never would have met in real life, or you never will maybe meet, but you're still like, clearly you share a passion about something if you're posting about it and they're engaging with it and following you. Even just like responding to comments, I just think is important, and like you should probably enjoy that if you're a creator, I would think, unless you have like a difficult audience that isn't kind to you
Everyone
or something.
hates you.
Like
something.
I feel like I've been knock on wood, I feel like I've been generally lucky with the people that follow me. Like, as I think that for the most part,
that's all about the change.
and it all changed after that. No, I really appreciate like the way that my audience, for the most part, engages and is like generally respectful and stuff. So
that's fantastic. Some people have a personal account and a professional account. Do you keep that divided, or are they one the same with you? How does that work as far as how you operate online?
I guess my personal accounts turned into my professional accounts. So like TikTok, I didn't start thinking, oh yes, I'm gonna gain a huge following on this app. So like you can scroll way back and see videos that I was posting that have nothing to do with Ren Fair, just things that I was like doing that were trends when I first downloaded the app. And I never went back and deleted it because I'm like, I don't care. I mean, I'm just a person. Like, it's fine. And same with Instagram. I don't have a Finsta, fake Instagram, or like a personal hidden account. I don't even have like a private story yet. I know that you can like curate just like close people that you're friends with in real life and just post to them on your own, like on your professional account still. I haven't done that yet. I might at some point. But generally, like I will just post my personal stuff there. Like if I'm doing stuff with friends, I'll post it on my story, and like I don't curate it too much to be only Ren Fair or only corset kind of content. Because I do think it helps to like show yourself to your audience, depending on what kind of account you're growing. Obviously, if it's like a certain style you're going for and you want to stick to that, like you might be able to grow your page more like that. But I've just found that this works for me, and it keeps me like a little bit more sane because I don't have to curate it too much. Like if I want to post something on Instagram, I will. For the most part, like to my story. I don't curate my story too much.
Do you find that your content works well on Instagram and TikTok? Like you, with one video, you can post to both, or is there any difference as far as your content between the two platforms?
That's a good question. Because I have thought about this before, and I think like sometimes I'll post certain stuff to Instagram knowing that it's not going to do as well as it did on TikTok. With TikTok, I've found the niche that is generally like Ren Fair, transitions, and point of view type of videos. So more like storyline based videos. And the storyline stuff doesn't do as well on Instagram for me. So sometimes if I post something and I don't think it really works for like my Instagram audience, I just won't post it there. So like I definitely post more to TikTok, because I think Instagram's algorithm can be a little bit more like punishing in a way. If you post a bunch of stuff that gets bad engagement, I think your views can start to get a little bit suppressed. Whereas TikTok, like you could have really low engagement for like 5 videos and then post a video that gets millions of views.
Do you find any merit in removing old content that might not have done so well, or is it good to keep that kind of stuff there because your fan base, as they grow, they just want to see more stuff, they find it eventually? The reason why I'm asking this is because on YouTube, I've personally found if there's an old video that maybe I was younger, it's not as good or something, but if people like my content, like the stuff I'm putting out now, sometimes while they're waiting for me to create something, they'll just go back and those older videos accumulate more views over time. That's YouTube.
Yeah.
Do you find that kind of thing happens on TikTok and Instagram, or is it always pushing the latest video to your audience?
I think with Instagram, it is posting the latest video. Like when you follow someone, I think you start to see their new content. I don't think Instagram shows you stuff from 3 months ago. Whereas TikTok, if someone follows me, I will notice that like a lot of my old videos will be getting views, and it's either people scrolling way back, or the more likely thing is TikTok is showing them that because they just followed me. So I think the way TikTok does it is shows your like big hit videos and then starts to like work down the line. So I leave my stuff up unless I'm like embarrassed by something. Like if I posted something and I'm like, that's embarrassing or cringy, which there's probably stuff on there that is, but I don't know. I don't go back too much and like try to curate that. Instagram, I think that you can leave stuff up unless, like I said, like it's embarrassing or something. But I think that too, I saw, I don't remember who it was, but I saw someone make a video on TikTok that was like, if you're a creator, like leave your old videos up that don't do well, because I think that it also helps other creators. So if you're scrolling through someone maybe that you look up to as a creator and they have a lot of followers and you're looking through their videos and you see only videos with millions of views, I feel like it can be very discouraging. Not that it's necessarily like creators' jobs to show themselves like their faults as well, but I think that it is important, like just for other creators to see that not everything has to be perfect. Not everything has to get millions of views for you to still be successful. Like your failures are important too. So, I mean, unless you have a video that you really don't like personally, I would say leave it up and let, you know, like if you had a video that you really liked and you posted it and it didn't do well, don't take it down. You know, because like you worked hard on it and you liked the video and you could still stand by the fact that you think it's good and the algorithm just didn't, or other people maybe didn't. But also on TikTok, I've heard people have videos from like months ago all of a sudden start gaining traction and blowing up. So Instagram may be a little bit different. I don't know as much about their algorithm, but I would say with TikTok, like don't curate it too much. Don't delete old stuff, like if you're proud of it.
Well, that's a lot of really good advice for us. We're going to be wrapping it up now. Megan, thank you so much for coming by here and talking with us today and just giving us your insight, answering every question so well. And but people already know a bit about where to find you. Over 500,000 people know where to find you. But for the Studio Me folks back home, what's the best way for people to like follow, find you? We'll put it on screen and all that. And you just say it right.
Okay, yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me first. And you can find me on TikTok and Instagram, and my handle is just at Megan Ciafre.
All right. Well, fantastic. Thanks again. This has been great. I'd love to have you back sometime and just talk more and see, like, just, you know, where you are next time you're here. And just because I feel like there's a lot of topics we can get even more into, but I think that this is a lot of information that a lot of people just want to know. And now it's all in one place.
Awesome.
So, very good.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Megan. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a wonderful good evening, good night, and other things that happen judging by the trajectory of the moon and the sun. Cheers.